would you like to introduce your student?
Of course, good morning everyone. I'm honored to introduce you Skylar Roy, and this is she is our last presenter, but of course not least, and her concentration is human performance, and today she's going to talk about ashwagandha in sports, investigating its impact on physical performance and athletic enhancement. Skylar?
Again, I am Skylar Roy. I hope you guys more this good as mine. I will be talking about the effects of ashwagandha in sports. This overall study basically is the investigation of ashwagandha's impact on physical activity and athletic enhancement. So if you don't already know what ashwagandha is an evergreen shrub that's normally known for its breast migrating capabilities. It's grown in India, in the Middle East, and parts of Africa. Researchers are interested in uncovering the mechanisms behind ashwagandha's potential effects to inform future development and applications, and practitioners are exploring how ashwagandha might be personalized based on factors like health status and training goals. This study was specifically targeted towards the population of elite athletes and recreational exercisers. So the overall study basically it provides a more in-depth view of ashwagandha's impacts by potentially combining data from previous studies, basically to understand and get a different view of their populations and exercise regimens. This study provides athletes, coaches, and medical professionals with insightful information, basically with the increased insight information, very holistic approaches and natural performance enhancers. So the steps for this study goes as follows. So first was the protocol and registration. This was established by principles of the PRISMA guidelines, which basically prevented needless information and duplications. Step two, the eligibility criteria. This basically, they looked at recent studies of ashwagandha's effects on physical performance in healthy adults compared to a control group. It was written in specific languages and focused on specific performance measures. Step three used the following academic and research databases such as PubMed, Science Direct, and Google Scholar. Step four looked for research on whether ashwagandha affects how well people perform physically, excluding studies on sick people or other topics. Step five consisted of the most relevant studies of ashwagandha with both automated and manual methods. They gathered all the information basically to understand their findings and concluded the reviews so that they weren't influenced by any unfairness in the original studies. That was kind of 5, 6, and 7. So step 8, they analyzed basically all of the studies to make sure that people were actually performing better with ashwagandha physically. And lastly, step 9, they analyzed many studies comparing ashwagandha to a placebo group that focused on specific areas like muscle strength, endurance, and recovery. So here I have inserted a chart, well, multiple charts. Basically, it's showing the changing results of the muscle measurements and the strength, muscle strength, when ashwagandha was taken compared to the placebo group. So in some, you can see compared to the pre and post results that there are significant differences, and some that stay the same or slightly, like at the smallest little bit, a difference. So now we get into the positive benefits. There are so much more research that needs to be done regarding this topic as it is very new. But basically, a lot of benefits consist of body composition, endurance, recovery, and environmental adaptation. So here I have included another chart, and basically overall, this chart shows the studies comparing ashwagandha to the placebo group in athletes and focus on how it affects tiredness and recovery. So basically, the squares represents the single study, showing how much ashwagandha affected the fatigue and recovery compared to the placebo. The polygons that you see are the overall effect across all studies for different categories, and the horizontal lines within the squares basically shows the range of the uncertainty around the overall effect. So basically, this overall graph chart, it shows the specific measurements used to access fatigue and recovery varied across the studies, and the effectiveness of ashwagandha. So it suggests that ashwagandha might help with fatigue and recovery in athletes, but more studies are needed to confirm this and understand the ideal use for both differences in sports and the individuals themselves. So what does this mean for future studies in athletes? Body composition, muscle mass, environmental adaptation, memory, sleep, and potentially your overall well-being are all proven results that ashwagandha can improve, although there are more in research that is needed to confirm whether the endurance factor has a big impact or noticeable impact as far as ashwagandha goes. So to do this, it is very essential for researchers to register their findings for reliability purposes. The key findings that basically I seen within this research study was that they only included studies comparing ashwagandha to a placebo. They grouped studies into categories like strength and endurance for analysis. They used special methods to account for differences in how studies were done and to combine their results accurately. And lastly, they found that ashwagandha might have some benefits for certain aspects of physical performance, especially strength and recovery. So now we know some of the benefits. Some of the limitations includes the individual themselves. So basically genetic factors, their training status, and their overall health in general can basically determine how ashwagandha affects the body or the performance status. It is highly recommended to consult your healthcare provider, as ashwagandha you can have interactions or side effects with other medications that you're taking. Um, it is important that you do not rely solely on the supplement, as I said before, that it varies due to genetics, as well as the nutrition, sleep, and stress management. It is very important that you do not basically substitute ashwagandha for that. It is just a complementary tool. So, so here I included some sources and references as the research goes. So I know you guys have more questions because I had more questions, as it is still a new topic as far as research goes. So some of the questions that I had was what were the side effects and interactions with other medications. So some of the side effects include mild gastrointestinal issues, drowsiness and sleepiness, headaches, and allergic reactions, although the allergic reactions are usually uncommon. You can incur an interaction with medications such as sedatives, thyroid medications, immunosuppressants, and blood pressure medications. So overall, with the research, I did not see that they were that basically there was a distinguished like between different forms of ashwagandha, but it as a overall whole. So.
Questions for our speaker? You must have covered it well. Okay. All right.